So I know we hate writing cover letters because they are so annoying. They're that one component of a job application that is really, you can't just take one from another application and just put it on the next application because you have to make it individually for it. They're really frustrating, but they're unfortunately really important. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the essentials of how to create a cover letter if you're creating your first one, and then also how to easily adapt it to other jobs that you're applying to. There really isn't too much to it once you really get the basics of it. So if you're new here, my name's Eli. I'm a marine biologist. I'm also a past Fulbright grantee for the Philippines. And on this channel, I talk about all things marine biology and pursuing careers within this field. So if you're interested in any of that, you should definitely take a look at my channel. And then also my Patreon that I just launched, which basically I use as a job board and a resource page for people looking to make a career within marine biology. It's also my community that I've created related to all these things. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. So before we really start, I also want to acknowledge I'm not a career counselor. I am not an expert on creating cover letters. This is just what I've learned from my experience from creating a lot of cover letters and helping people with personal statements and similar things. So why are cover letters so important? Cover letters are basically the next step after the resume. The resume is going to be the space that an interviewer is going to look for if you check off the boxes for qualifications. And unfortunately, a lot of people can check off all the boxes that you have also checked off. So you can have a lot of people that kind of make it through that first round of review in a application process. So the cover letter is really important as a complement to your resume to basically show why you are special regardless of your resume and your experience, why you are specifically well suited and why you are specifically interested and driven among other people to this specific job. This is going to be the part that makes a employer reach out to you over others. So how do you do that? So basically, I really love this motto or this really simple way to look at a cover letter. I was once told back in my undergrad by one of my advisors to structure all of your cover letters in this way. So you follow the Barney theme song. I love you, you love me, we're a happy family. And that is such a perfect way to put it all into one singular sentence. So I love you in the beginning of your cover letter, talking about why you love who you're applying to. In the second part of your essay, you can then talk about why they should love you. So bringing it back to why you are really well suited for the job, why you're really interested in it, and why you're really passionate and well suited to get the position. And then in the last part of the cover letter, talking about we're a happy family, how you're going to work really well together and why it makes a lot of sense. So breaking down that structure and how I like to form my cover letters. So in the first part of the cover letter, I like to stick to that kind of I love you kind of mindset. So really talking to the organization about why I really appreciate them, why I really think that they are great, and why I'm really interested in what they do. So taking an example of from my last cover letter, I'm going to give you exactly what I put. In that first paragraph, I like to start off with a brief summary of why I'm interested in the position and kind of like where I came across it. So I kind of like to use this vague format. Feel free to change it around and change it as you see necessary, but I start out with as a blank and I insert a descriptive title to talk about where I'm coming from. I am pleased to submit an application for blank, and I like to put the exact job description or the job title to really be specific about and showing that I'm applying to this thing. So what I wrote on my last cover letter was, as a former researcher of artificial reefs in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, I am pleased to submit an application for employment as an OPS biological scientist for under the FWC's Division of Marine Fisheries Management, Artificial Reef subsection. So extremely specific. In the first part of that sentence, I am not only showing a bit of my identity there, where I identify as a former researcher, I also go into something that I have experience with that is really relevant to the position I was specifically applying to. So I say artificial reefs in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, which is actually specifically where the research that was going to be occurring with this position. So I give a little bit of my identity that's really relevant to this specific position. And then in the second part of that sentence, I'm really just stating the exact position. So I'm letting them know I'm completely aware of what I'm applying to. And then in another part of this first paragraph, really my first paragraph is just 2 sentences, really long sentences, but the next sentence is basically briefly describing why the sentence or why the position makes sense for me. So what I have written in this last cover letter is, from the beginning of my undergraduate thesis, I've been fascinated by the role that artificial reefs play in coastal ecosystems, and I'm thrilled by the opportunity to further research these topics in such an exciting workspace. So this is kind of like really blowing them up, the employers that are looking at my cover letter, to really show that I have a really immense amount of appreciation for exactly what they do, the type of research that they're working with, and then also the space that they're working in. So working with the state government within Fish and Wildlife, I recognize that as a really exciting place to work. And then the specific work that they're doing, I also think is really exciting. So I'm really emphasizing here that I really love what this position is and all that it entails. And that's all that I'm really trying to get across within this first paragraph. So as far as the second part of your cover letter, the body of what you're writing about, this is the part where I like to focus on the "you love me" aspect. So in this part of my cover letter, I'm listing the core experiences that really make me well qualified, and I've really built that experience to be really relevant to the specific role that I'm applying to. So this would be the biggest chunks that really make up your resume that are really relevant to the thing that you're applying to. So this could be college or university experience, employment experiences, projects experience, or just life experiences in general. It doesn't have to necessarily be a line on your resume. It could be something in your past that's been really fundamental in forming really strong interest for something related to this role. So you'll probably switch some of these experiences out for different cover letters for different jobs that you're applying to. But if you're staying within the same field, within the same types of jobs, you can keep most of these pretty much the same, because your interest and your passions, your drive is still going to be coming from more or less the same place. So how to really stand out. So you should constantly be switching up the experiences that you mention within your cover letters to really emphasize what's specifically relevant in your experience to what you're applying to. So this can be when it's really valuable to do your research about the specific job. And sometimes that can be as simple as just reading the job description and really writing down some of those key components to it. What is the employer expecting out of the employee? What do you need to know for this role? Make sure you're super crystal clear on what that is, and then go back to your experience and focus on the specific things that are really relevant to that and really have developed your interest and your experience related to it. I think it's also really important here to acknowledge that despite you needing to emphasize relevant experience, it's also really important to be really honest with what that experience is. For example, from this past job that I was applying to, if they're expecting a boat captain with boating experience, and I'm only a boat captain with experience of simply getting the certification and then driving a boat for one day, it's so important to acknowledge that you have the experience of boating, of driving a boat for one day, but to also acknowledge that you still have room to grow there. And I think it makes it even stronger to acknowledge that you have a desire to grow in that skill. Honesty is really valued here, to just be crystal clear when you're getting into an interview. I think it's also really important to show some passion for the specific types of things that are brought up in the job description and in the organization as a whole. So this is when it can be really valuable to do some additional research about some related things within the organization and look at what the organization kind of like holds as its values, its mission, and all those sorts of things. I think it's important here to emphasize throughout your cover letter that you hold those same missions and values and morals within you, and you actually really care about them. So getting to the end of your essay, when you're bringing things to the future. This is the part where it's the third part of the Barney saying where we're a happy family. I think this is where it's so important, especially in the last paragraph, to draw things out to the bigger picture and emphasize how your future goals are really, really well tied with this specific thing that you're applying to. So how is this thing that you're applying to an essential step towards what you're trying to do in this world? So this is where the we're a happy family thing really comes to fruition when you talk about and just specifically say how this role, this experience is going to build exactly what you need to get to where you want to go. And I think it's important to acknowledge here that you don't necessarily need to know exactly where you want to go. If you do, that's great. But if you don't, it's still important to have a general idea of the direction that you're heading, so employers or people looking at your application can really understand that yes, this makes a lot of sense for this person, that this is an essential step that makes a lot of sense in their journey moving forward. So just some examples of goals that you could have for the future. I want to address this problem in society. Or you could even get more specific of I want a PhD in this field, or I want this certification, or to have this specific role within society in the future. So you don't have to get super specific here, but it is helpful to just have a really clear direction that you're trying to go to. So those are all of my tips on writing a cover letter as of now. Again, like I said, I'm not a complete expert in this topic. I'm learning as I go. And if you have anything else to contribute about writing cover letters, if you have gotten a lot of experience with this in the past, if you've learned anything relevant, definitely make sure to talk about that in the comments below. I love to see other insights people have to benefit everyone that is watching this video. If you're interested in careers in marine biology and you're looking to further your career and learn more about opportunities out there, definitely check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already and subscribe. And then also check out my Patreon page where I post jobs, opportunities, and also other resources related to it. And I have my little community there that I'm growing. Still very small, but we are growing as the days go by. So definitely check it out if you are interested in that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, and thank you.